Abraham Claiborne, you have just finished your story. You were sitting in the back of the wagon as you were hurtling above the sands of Glié 667BB, and you were on your way towards the location that Jesse had pointed out was possibly a revolutionary cache that they found on Alcor's computer. And you finish your tale of what happened to you on that planet, and a hush comes over the cabin.
So, I suppose that's the long and the short of it. Kind of weird, I know.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a touch.
That answer your question, though?
Yeah, plenty, yeah.
What about you, Jesse?
You don't eat metal, do you?
Not unless I turn into something that's got a hankering for it, but,
Alright.
that hadn't happened yet. Not ruling it out, but...
Good to know. Glad you're on the team still.
And with this, our merry band of heroes heads forward into Glié's gypsum deserts. And you have arrived after a certain amount of time, because I don't remember how long I said it was to fly before, at that pillar that you guys had noticed on the way south to Ronaldo's compound, the pillar that marks the coordinates of Alcor's stash. And you bring the wagon down, I assume, somewhere nearby, and what appears to be just a shallow cave at the end of a gentle incline upwards is the only thing that seems really distinguishable about this place. And you set down on the ground. What do you do?
I grab the holy light and I say, well, y'all ready to get going?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we have the cash, right?
Yeah,
There's cash here.
I believe it's pronounced cachet.
There's cash here.
Yeah, it's French.
Okay.
Everybody just roll 1d6. And the highest one, quote-unquote, wins.
6.
3.
6. Fajitski, you walk forward and you notice that as this gypsum sand begins to give way to this outcropping of rock and you're walking up this gentle rock incline, there is a slightly discolored, large, flat, smooth stone in front of you. And another one after that. And another one after that. And another one after that appear to have been moved or overturned in some way. And then there's a click. And you look down and your right foot is on one.
No, I got none.
You got superhuman reflexes if you wanted to do something. But as I think at the moment, there's a moment of silence as you realize that something just clicked underneath this flat stone underneath your right foot.
Oh shit.
What do you do?
I'm gonna stand still. Guys.
Yeah, Doc.
I think, is this can I roll to see if I feel like this might be a mine in the floor?
Seems like an assessment, yeah.
Alright. That's snake eyes. Snake eyes.
I think even though with your extensive military training and experience, that click has meant so many bad things on the battlefield that even somebody as seasoned as you for a second panics. And you're remaining still, but you cannot think of any ways to determine what that was or even what more you should do other than to remain still. And I'm going to put a little check mark next to my thing that says complete failures. What do you do? Adventurers who have just heard Fajitski shout this out.
Guys.
Yeah, what?
Guys!
What?
Can you fly?
Do what?
Can you fly?
If I turn into something that can fly...
How long does that take?
It's not necessarily how long it takes. I had to have seen something that could do it, so I can
I'm gonna die.
figure it out. No, you're not gonna die.
I'm gonna die.
You're not gonna die.
I turn on my little jets and float above the air.
You, I think from this vantage point, can now see pretty much every one of these stones on the approach to this cave.
Okay.
And you are floating.
Cool.
I want to take a look at this thing and see if it seems like there's any way to like disarm it or anything like that.
That seems like an assessment, yeah.
Okay.
Which will be plus, I think, expertise, because it's a device.
So that's an 8.
I think I tell you something interesting and possibly useful, and you don't get a data point.
Okay.
Examination of one of the other nearby stones. You are able to very carefully lift one, not depressing whatever might be underneath it, and see that there does appear to be some sort of small granular, looks like a grenade or something like that, that has had its cap removed, and the only thing keeping it from detonating is the weight of the stone. And you can assume, therefore, that the one underneath Fajitski is the same. But I think also you know that this isn't a timer so much thing.
Yeah.
It's
That's a weight thing.
when you get off of it, boom.
Yeah.
Should I get off of it? Should I move? What should I do?
No, don't you move a muscle there, Doc. Because if you do, you're gonna get blown to shit.
I hover like lightly over them.
Damn.
If you could like fly all of a sudden, I could try to pick him up in time, and we could just whoo.
Wait, what?
Oh,
If
and
you
find
could
another
fly.
rock. Find rocks that are like my weight, and then put them
Okay,
over,
I'll go back.
on around my feet, and then I can get off, and then it'll be okay.
I fly back up and I start scanning for anything I could use that would
Sure.
be the equivalent weight. Or I could go back to the ship as well.
Either or, which would you prefer?
Ship.
Great, so you head back to the ship. I'm sure you have something that could be used as ballast or whatever.
Oh yeah, I've got like crates.
Ration bags.
Yeah.
Oh, a crate of whiskey that you guys took from the bar in
Yeah,
episode 2.
Oh,
Way back.
I will take that.
Great, you have a crate of
I
whiskey.
bring it back to them.
If I recall, it's bullet.
Bullet.
I think so.
That's
You're not gonna waste that, are you? You don't waste that. Don't. That's a gold to me.
Don't think
That's
of
like more
it
precious
as
than
don't
gold.
think of it
Don't you
as
dare.
wasted.
Put it back.
Because
Put it back.
it's gonna save you.
No,
All
dear
right,
God.
here it comes.
Hey, there's
and,
literally rocks everywhere.
and I'm starting to make the transfer of weight. However,
Are there
fast I
rocks everywhere?
There are. I want to make this clear. They're sort of scattered.
Okay.
It's there are paths up this incline. It's not completely coated. The problem you get the impression might be more that you don't know which ones are bugged.
Yeah.
You don't know which ones are triggered. Are you going along with this?
No, not really. Don't want to waste any whiskey. I mean,
Well, it gets to a point where both you and the crate are on either side of this one small, like, ovaloid rock. And what do you do, Fajitski? Abraham, where are you while he's making this next decision?
Right now, Abraham is right next to this mine, ready to jump on it.
Fascinating. Fajitski, what are you doing?
I'm gonna go over to the whiskey box.
It's right at your, like, you were actually now fighting for space with it on this flat rock.
Oh, I'm gonna pull a thing of whiskey out of the crate.
You pull a single bottle of Future Bullet.
All right, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna move. Think I'm fine? It's
Yeah,
that's right.
I
Okay.
think this is about your weight.
And I step off of it.
I slowly put it on.
And like Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
you are replacing it.
Yeah.
Give me 2d6 plus, I think, cool.
I can do it. Ooh. We're all gonna blow up, guys. What's cool? I have metal, fizzy.
Oh, I'm sorry,
influence.
metal.
That's a 5.
Oh boy.
If it looks like it's gonna go, Abraham jumps on it.
Okay, here's what happens. Fajitski, having retrieved his whiskey prize, I think you try to leap clear.
Let's say a leap. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the moment where it's like, okay, now or never, I'm out. And you do, leaving Jesse and Abraham right next to it. There's a split second where you are about to put the crate on, and you slightly overcorrect, so you push it too far to the side, and part of the rock goes down under the weight, and the other half goes up. And there's another click, and an instant beep, beep, beep. You have a second, Abraham. What do you do?
Right. If it's just a second, he jumps on it. He covers it.
I think
That's where
there
he's at.
is a awful meaty explosion. It seems like it was what we would call a class 0 grenade.
Yeah.
And you have completely blocked it. You and this rock actually have blocked any shrapnel that might fly off towards your friends. And you take 2 harm.
Okay. What does that translate to? Minor, major? Severe?
Sorry. It is a major, and you're going to brace for impact to try to reduce it.
Okay.
Abraham!
That's plus.
No!
brace
I
for
just
impact.
yell, why can't you fly?
Brace for impact is any amount of armor that you might have. In your current form, you might not have any.
I don't have any, and that's a 6 there, Buckaroo.
Oh boy. So yes, you take the full effects of this explosion. And yeah, you immediately take 2 harm, and I'm going to inflict a debility for the failure.
Great. So does that mean, so I already have, I've been slowly recovering,
Yeah.
but I've got a
This
major
time.
and a minor right now, so does that bump
It's
me
going to pop up
major?
to a severe.
Great. So
Yeah.
I've got one of each of those so far.
And you had just healed 1 down
I know.
Yeah.
after so much effort.
There's gonna be an episode where you're fully healthy and you make it
all the way unscathed.
All my characters always
Is it today?
just get the shit beat out of them.
I think
it's
it's
true.
gross.
Yeah.
I think it's gross, and it's something that would normally kill a human.
Yeah.
But the fact that you are able to immediately afterwards, your body tries to reassert itself and heal back together.
Yeah.
That keeps it
Flapping
from
everywhere.
being like, this is going to bleed out. You are dead.
Yeah.
Right? And to this effect, you are bleeding, and there's probably bits and gore and awful, gross shit.
Oh, for sure.
Leaking out, and you're just on the sand, having protected both Jesse and Fajitski from any possible ramifications.
Fuck!
Fajitski screams, "The whiskey!
The whiskey,
Not the whiskey!"
The whiskey is puddle, and
I
it
do
is-
like to imagine that. Like, I maybe tried to lift Fujitsuki up in the air just a hint while all of this was happening. So we didn't get, like, hit by glass
Oh
from
yeah,
the bottles.
your instinct was to dive for the fleshy meat bag that can't regenerate and get
And just
him
lift
away.
him up a little bit in the air with my jets.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that. And that's my grenade under a stone puzzle.
So you can be quick.
Jesus
I
Christ.
solved it!
Tell me how you proceed.
Why didn't you just fly?
Oh,
Gosh. And I come back down with my jets
the
holding Fujitsuki.
whiskey!
No, wait, is the crate of whiskey okay, or did all the whiskey get blown
I
up?
think it's partly splintered, and the part that's splintered is leaking that good brown sauce we all know and love.
Great.
Oh, it's all. So most of it's okay.
You did fail earlier.
Yeah,
It's gone.
it's all gone.
It's probably got shrapnel and guts in it now.
Yeah, I don't know. God damn you, kind of thing.
You blew it all up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Damn dirty apes. How do you proceed?
Little help!
Abraham.
I pick you back up to your feet.
Thank you.
And I think without too much more effort, you guys pick your way past this literal minefield towards the cave that Alcor has designated as a cache. He likes his traps, I think, is what I've tried to establish in
I
those
think
two
you've
moments.
established it.
He's a trap man.
When you finally get there, it's cool. It's so cool, guys.
It's dope, bro.
It's the same. It's the same stone that you've seen, obviously, in these outcroppings, but it seems like it's been either swept or maintained in some small way. And there's a slight aperture that actually feels like nice, cool and dry air coming from. You head on down, and you see what would be in any revolution on Earth or before a treasure trove. You see what looks to be a full industrial assortment of light weapons. That is assault rifles, carbines, and pistols. The ammo for those enough to outfit, probably 15 people if the push came to shove. 5 riot jackets that would stop a bullet, each worth 1 armor. Also, a bank of electronics. And there's one more thing. When Fajitski goes through and begins to scan the area, I think maybe looking around corners and seeing if there's anybody hiding or whatever, you see slightly apart from the computer setups and what looks like monitors and possibly even like a pirate sensor and like broadcast beacon, you see a tattered photograph, old Earth style, and the face is one that you remember because it's one that you were given
Oh shit.
on a fated quest that we go to now. That's my awful intro music.
That was good. That was really good.
Love it.
Fajitski, the plan has been shot to hell.
Oh fuck.
How long did you spend on Ishmael stalking your quarry?
About 30 days.
30 days, a full month, and
30
I think
nights.
30 days, 24 nights.
even before the shit hit the fan and your careful plans were ruined, there was something going on this planet. The planet was rocky, salty, cold water oceans, spraying and teeming with really rugged life, living in some really harsh conditions. Just a beautiful planet with enough nitrogen and oxygen for people like us to breathe. Teeming tide pools along the many coasts and rivers and tributaries cut through soaked flora. And the colony of Ishmael was very hardy. It had begun getting ideas of independence, of that we didn't need meridian, we could forage from the food that we could actually eat here. We could actually digest these proteins. That we didn't need to restock with water because obviously we could just distill what was there in the ocean. And it was for that reason that terrorists like Gratian Rendenputter come to Ishmael.
Jesus Christ.
Gratian Rendenputter.
Yeah.
Tell me 3 of the things, 3 of the atrocities Deep Sky told you he committed, and tell me which one of those was actually true.
They said that he led a group of old school military men to their own deaths in a small cave where they were expecting something to not happen, but then it did because he tricked them all. Backstabbing.
Was he a former military member like you?
Yes. The other one was a big giant intercontinental what is it, money laundering scheme?
Oh, okay.
Which involved many bankers who all, by the end of it, knew his name.
Right.
Or at least know his name because of the corporation. What a Deep Sky.
Yeah.
Trying to blackmail him or something like that. And then the last one is...
He stole a loaf of bread.
he stole a loaf of bread from a building, and then he blew up that building. That's the one that's true.
Thank you for guessing.
Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
Stole
A loaf of bread. From a building that looks kind of like that one.
Blue.
The one that looks sort of like a dildo. The British one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What is that called? It's the one
It's
in...
the egg.
It's the egg?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like the
okay.
egg.
Okay.
Doesn't look like an egg.
So that was the one that was true.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Blew it up.
So you were formerly a solar
Something.
empire from Earth, like them boots on the ground. Like all of Deep Sky's, contracts and stuff were to like the military of Earth. And that included you. And it also included contracting out your services. Were you? I got the impression when we talked that it was like special like operations. You were like a sort of like a black site kind
Everything redacted, nothing
Everything
talked
redacted.
about. Yeah.
After
Who is
your-
this guy? But we always hire him.
Right. So they placed you undercover on Ishmael, I assume as a medic, and for 30 days you've been stalking your prey, in addition to a couple other names. But it all went to hell, as I said. For a terrorist who would do such horrible things as steal a loaf of bread and then blow up the building that he stole the loaf of bread from, Gratian hasn't seemed like that. And furthermore, for somebody who should be, like this famed member of the resistance, this infamous sort of criminal, he doesn't seem very suspicious of anybody around him. He doesn't seem to think that he could be touched or attacked in any sort of way. And part of that was, until recently, nobody knew his name. They hadn't connected the bread terrorism attack with a face until recently, and that's where you came in. One of the things that you've witnessed just in the last day, a child went missing on Ishmael, and it's easy enough to do so. There are many different undercurrents in the oceans. There's cave systems that go in and around and under the colony in certain parts, and there are these sort of teeming tree-like forests all throughout the continent. It's very easy for somebody who doesn't know where they are, or doesn't have their locator or broke it or whatever, to get lost. But we knew where this kid was because the parent came and said that they'd seen them get sucked in the riptide into a cave system below. The person who first responded instantly, Gratian. That was the last you saw of your quarry until now, when he, with child in tow, both miraculously unharmed, orders a complete evacuation of the planet. Anybody who will listen, anybody who will come with, anybody who had any sort of interest in joining up with or being interested with the Free States of Perseus goes along. And I think you're forced to as well, in that it's either that or let them get away.
Yeah. I don't want to lose sight of him either.
And this is shocking for Gratian's crew, which we will introduce now. Who would like to be the gunnery chief?
The gunnery chief.
Ooh. Can we hear all of them first?
Yeah.
Who would like to be the tech whiz?
Okay.
And who would like to be the basket case?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I'll take tech whiz.
I'll take basket case. You feel like a gunnery.
Works for me.
I
ain't got
be
time to
crazy. Cool. Let's see.
So go ahead and check out those little things, but those are the basic truths of your character. I want the gunnery chief to introduce himself with a name and just 3 adjectives and how you're in Gratian's crew. And remember, since you're all in the crew at this point, you're considered Free State agents like him. You are rebels or separatists. That you might not be known as such, but that is what it is when you run with Gratian.
Let's see.
Through the magic of editing, it will be instantaneous. So don't worry, take your time.
I will be Durt Crumley.
He is scarred, crazy-eyed, and tobacco-filled.
I love Durt already.
Dirk.
Dirk. Oh, I thought it was Durt Crumley.
I've changed my mind. Now he's Dirt Crumley.
Durt. The captain, like, Gratian Rendenput.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe Cash, for that name.
It's spelled D-U-R-T.
Dirt.
Dirt.
He's scarred, crazy-eyed, and tobacco-filled.
My name is Percy Chevron.
Yes.
Percy Chevron.
Some may call me spry,
Yes.
intelligent, and limber.
Limber.
Percy. Percy.
Makes communication on a radio just a nightmare.
Just static.
And that was just me.
And the basket case.
Hey y'all, my name be Lala.
Lala?
Yeah. Can I tell you the face? Tarot card. I don't believe in deodorizing, bathing, nor eating anything green or vegetable-like. I have very low-wearing pants with lots of dynamite in the butt cheeks. And I am the damn near most beautiful princess you didn't ever see. And I'm missing hair. It is patch-like. And a cinched off eyebrow.
Oh yeah, from Moldova.
So that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's amazing.
That's gonna become a trend one day.
Yes,
So
it sure is.
And there's one more member of the crew.
Oh.
A young upstart pilot named Alcor. It is at this time that I would like to fuck my leg. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Somehow I would like to fuck my own leg.
I'm so sorry. I am
is
fighting
great.
a leg cramp, the likes of which.
I was like,
Oh my gosh, you need a tennis
excited.
ball? What?
At this point, I'd like to fuck my leg.
Listen, I know Lala's sexy, but keep it in.
Oh my god.
Delaney, please take over. What does Alcor look like?
Alcor is 17, a wiry boy. He wears an old patchy jumpsuit, given down from Grash, who serves as his mentor. He's been with the crew since he was 12, so
Nice.
for 5 years.
I think
Nice.
maybe I'm 20. Maybe I got recruited.
I think I'm like
Yeah.
55.
Great.
I think there's old hands. People have been with running with Grash in the Free States for a while, and Alcor, within the last 5 years, is definitely still not quite shucked the newbie title or
yeah.
the kid. And if Percy's a kid as well, then perhaps they're the kids.
Alcor is the coolest. Gosh, Alcor, what are you gonna do today?
Sorry to jump in immediately, but I think that's established.
Alcor is also the pilot of the group.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you're filling the position of pilot and have been for a while. You're a crack pilot, as they say. I don't know who they is. I'm sorry, I'm still fighting this fucking
Yeah, you're
cramp.
struggling.
Do you need
Do
to
you
go
water?
walk
Stretch
I had
around?
so much water today.
Do you need a
do you need a
banana?
stretch?
I think here's the thing. I'm literally ensconced within the chair, and I think if I bend my leg to get out of the chair, the cramp's gonna start up again. So I might just stay like this for a while.
That's
You
cool.
see it?
Also, man,
It's
Dirt
really bad.
is so much of a better name than
Just
Dirt.
go in with dry or wet
I thought
hair.
he said-
Now you're right. You're totally ready.
I want you to know
I am
that Lala has been
sweating
trying to
at
fuck
all
you for
times.
years.
Yeah.
So I'm like
Years.
speeding to get to anywhere with AC at any point.
Years.
And I
Oh my
deliver,
God.
I deliver
Dynamite,
catering
beautiful,
with
and
Years.
assumedly
And today I
pretty
was
smelly.
I had to wait
Oh,
in my
yeah.
car for 20
Like, I
minutes.
don't think
They're
it's ever
"Yeah, just
baked."
wait in your car while we're
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Has she ever succeeded?
No, it's a more
Okay.
stagnant.
I
It's the
think
I'm
worst.
gonna jump in whenever.
one of those
I'm gonna
gross
go in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, we got bathroom.
Okay, yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
Really quick.
where it's like it's so dirty, it's so wrong, but it's so right.
It's just an animal smell.
Like I was saying that I think
Right, she's got a
Lala's been
musk.
trying to get with Dirt
Yeah.
forever.
I like it.
You don't so
and
much
it's
smell
gross.
her, but she arrives.
Yeah. Yeah.
She has a ribbon.
Like her
Okay.
skin, her
Oh.
smell is
Sorry,
just
guys.
part of her.
You're
Yeah.
good.
I'm a ribbon.
But like she'll blow things up in any second. down clown.
That's cool.
Oh my god.
And she will crush you with her thighs. Look out.
And we're talking about low riding jeans.
Yeah.
How low are we talking about?
Is there
crack?
Baby.
Oh, I feel like there's definitely crack.
You're Lala like the fucking Teletubby.
La 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 la.
Dipsy, Lala,
Poe.
Poe.
I know.
I might just record like this with my legs extended.
My leg.
Fuck my leg.
Is that too
That's
early?
really
That's
funny.
perfect, thank you. I'm just gonna record like this in this nice, cool, relaxed way.
I'm a cool, relaxed DM.
Anybody else? Are we all good before we lock us in?
I want a couple things out of you guys, because you're so imaginative and creative. I want to know what this ship looks like, because I know it is not a warship. I know it's like a transport. It's what you would call a Class 2 ship in Uncharted Worlds, like rulebook. And I think at most it has like a mining laser as like a weaponry. But I want to know like the details. Like, have you guys had it for a while? Did you steal it on the planet, hotwire it? Because what happens is this. Here's the context. Grash came out of that cave. He looked a way that you'd never seen him before. He looked physically fine, as did the child, despite like the sort of circumstances of being swept under into an underground cavern. But he looked wild-eyed. He looked completely unlike his normally calm, cool, and resourceful self. Normally, he's the one calling the shots in the middle of a firefight and having sort of laid-back facade in even like a boardroom meeting or something like that. This is not a guy who's fazed by much. And as soon as he came out of that cave, clutching that child both soaked through, and shouted that everybody needed to get off planet and head towards Meridian as soon as possible, that was a surprise. But I think everybody sprang into action like the well-oiled, well, the extremely oily machine that you all are. And so that's why I want to know what the context of this ship was. Were you oiled up and ready to go? Were you gassed and ready to peace out? Or was it like the closest ship ready to go?
I think it's been stolen.
Yeah,
We've stolen the ship,
I'm living there.
and I've hotwired it. I don't know if it's the first. Yeah, I don't know if it's the first time. I think we've had this ship.
Yeah.
We've been familiar with the ship for a little bit.
Yeah.
There is a hole in it because I accidentally blew up a little part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's maybe served as a mining ship on the planet.
That's a good idea.
That we hotwired, and
we
so
can,
it's got basic tools, but
Yeah.
not anything
Sure.
crazy like you said.
Yeah, we had it like tucked away for
Yeah.
a little bit, like after we stole it and stuff, and it's been hot wired and everything.
Yeah.
And I think I'm trying to remember because it was so long ago, but like, was it like a maroon and yellow or gold kind of color scheme that we had for
For
it?
Free States?
Yeah, like
Oh,
red
yeah.
and gold. Or,
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever the logo was, I think that like it's been sort of graffitied on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not exactly hiding.
Yeah.
Because also this far out on the rim, there are a lot of Free State sympathizers. Because it's pretty hard to enforce anything like a crackdown.
Yeah.
Does anybody like question this decision or once they're already in orbit?
Man, I am there.
Yeah, I trust Grash, so I immediately run to the ship, wire it together to turn it back on.
Yeah, because you don't have the keys.
Yeah.
You have to keep rewiring it. And I think there's a wrinkle as you guys are all waiting to go. Grash is not there. Grash, instead, as you guys beeline towards the ship, or perhaps we're already on the ship in your workspaces, Grash immediately beelined towards the township colony, and you can see him herding as many sympathetic people as he can, trying to lead them towards the ship. And it is in this, Fajitski, that you are swept up.
Yeah.
It's interesting that many people can fit in a cargo ship, but that's because the amount of space that we're actually dealing with mining or whatever this used to be. The hold is chock full of people who know Grash, who trust Grash, who might not be completely indoctrinated into the Free States in any sort of way, but are nevertheless willing to believe his tale, especially after witnessing him dive in after the child. Whatever it is that has spooked him, he's not saying what it is. He just continues to hold the child, who has a sort of confused and like curious like smile on their face. Somebody give me a name.
Bonnie.
Bonnie? Yeah, very cute girl. likes electronics, likes to make her own little robots around town, and it looks completely fine, and has not yet let go of around Grash's shoulders. Grash is leading, I think, her father and like a couple other people, a couple notable people from the town, but people who perhaps weren't amenable to the Free States are not following in this sort of convoy. You guys load up and you leave.
I like to imagine there's a little tech station.
Yeah.
And I wait for like your cue to like start firing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a little key dice above my chair.
Is Grash, so Grash is now on the ship with us.
Yeah. I think Grash has finally extricated himself from Bonnie, put them in the cargo hold with her father, and has now been climbing back up and like sort of almost paranoid, checking and double checking all of the things and stopping and holding his head and looking out the window and checking things that he would always have trusted you guys to check. On,
And we're
on
all
the
good. I double checked it.
All right.
Where are we headed, go? We're
Grash?
waiting on you.
All right, good to go. Let's go. Leave right now.
Where are we going?
The local node, the rails to Meridian.
Okay, I'll plug in the coordinates.
And you guys begin to calculate like the best way to get there. It's good that you say that you're at a workstation, because I think everybody has a role on this tiny little crew, this tiny little ship. It could be manned by more, but it's manned by you five.
Yeah.
Woo!
And
Dream team.
within an hour of being in flight, the fusion engine is up and running, and you guys are making a respectable pace for this old burnt-out hauler towards the local node of the rails, that something blips on your long-range scanner. An unknown ship that does not hail back. It does not provide any sort of call sign or signature as to who they are, and they are heading directly past you and towards the planet of Ishmael. The minor alarms that happen whenever somebody is painting you with either communications, a radar, or a weapons laser, and then there is no more, and they are continuing to head on down, never having once signaled.
I convey that to everybody.
Could I look at the window and like recognize it? Do I recognize it?
Where are you? Are you in the cargo hold?
I was imagining if there's like a window nearby, he's smoking a cigarette and looking out of it very like morosely.
I think in... What does this do to all of your plans? Where were you gonna do it?
Kill him?
Yes.
I was gonna wait until I don't know where I was gonna do it.
I think you had a routine. Tell me how you were gonna Assassin's Creed find a place to do it where nobody would see it, hide the evidence, and make it seem like he just left planet.
I guess find a way. I would have found a way to like get a ship ready. Maybe that's what I was waiting for. Like waiting to get a ship ready to like make him pretend he had suddenly left planet. Again, I couldn't get a hold of a small ship or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I was waiting for.
What were gonna be the circumstances of the murder, of the assassination?
I was gonna find in the middle of the night
Yeah.
when he was sleeping,
Sure.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice and easy. I think you're in the cargo hold, and there's a bunch of the sort of colorful people. There's the traveling professor who, for some reason, is on Ishmael. She's like 98 years old, and she's like giving some lecture about the cycle of history. Mostly, it's just people sort of settling down and wondering where they should go on Meridian, what family they should contact. And your communicator buzzes once. The one that nobody knows about, the one that is unmarked, the one that's a burner communicator.
Yeah.
And there is a single sentence message in there.
Oh, jeez.
Orders still stand. Add Durt, Lala, Percy, Alcor.
Durt, Lala, Percy, Alcor. Durt, Lala, Percy, Alcor. Durt, Lala, Percy, Alcor. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Roll an interface roll, Tech Whiz.
Come on, Percy. Add it together or no?
Yes, with
Okay,
with your interface, I think.
9.
9. Okay. You can tell.
8.
8? Perfect.
What a liar.
Mixed success. This
So close.
I think it's not immediately suspicious what happened.
Okay.
Any sort of smuggler, anybody with illicit goods or whatever, might have not like hailed and said, "Hey, traveler, me too. I'm going to Legal Town."
Yeah.
So it's not an uncommon occurrence for other shady types to never do that. But I think something tips you off that this might not be normal. There is the radar laser that went on you on the ship and painted the hull for just a second. It transmitted something, and not only that. The laser itself is more powerful than your standard, like, smuggler. And this is what tips you off into trying to decode what exactly happened, and where did it go, and what happened. And all you can tell is that it went to somebody in the cargo hold.
Hey guys, I think there's a roach with us. I mean, it feels fishy. That's all I'm saying.
So it transmitted a message to someone?
Yeah, but it wasn't like a normal, hey, how do you do message, like laser-wise. They are equipped out there.
Could you see what it said? Could you translate any of it?
No.
You just saw where it went?
I just got a weird feeling about it.
Oh.
I rolled 2 1s on my fuzzy dice.
Hey,
too.
Lala, does anybody look suspicious out there to you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go up in the cargo hold and just lay a little smoozer on him. I gotta poop, so I'm gonna go poop, and then I'm gonna go in the cargo hold, newbie, and I will lay my barons down on those people. That little librarian lady seemed like she would be a little bitch.
Yeah, she knows a lot.
Yeah,
Sounds like a good way to squash a roach.
it's probably my bed roach. His name's Larry.
Ew!
You know I know Larry.
Oh, baby. I'll see you later. Oh, I'm crowning. No, walk away.
Very dominant.
Scary.
This is so much.
Scary.
All to the bathroom.
I think you do. I think you. This is your plan. You poop real good and or real bad, as the case may be.
Not on anybody.
7, mixed success.
Yeah.
You got most
corny.
of it.
Yeah, it hurt a little bit.
Ooh.
A little corny.
Did you roll to see what your poop was like?
Yeah, she did.
Mixed success.
Mixed success.
Sounds about right.
Ooh.
And you head down, and you can see that this cargo bay, people are settling down. A couple of the people who were not as familiar and were instead like brought by their family members seem a little more apprehensive of being press ganged than anybody else. But anybody who has either met you guys or Gratian particularly, like, you know, gives you a nod or like a you know, or whatever as you walk by, and then they cover their nose as you arrive, as your shall we say
Essence.
Your aura.
essence.
Your aura is glowing.
Your aura is glowing. There's the old professor who nobody can figure out why she was on a colony planet in the first place.
Professor.
She's giving a lecture to, I don't know, Schmolowitz, who's the local janitor.
There's,
We only have one.
see these space rocks. There's different types of rocks in space.
Oh, what is she lecturing?
Yeah.
It's actually something very specific.
Oh.
She is a professor of, I think she is a field that she created, and she takes great pride in talking about how she pioneered this field, and it's a new look at history, and I think she calls it something like the algebra of disaster. And she's talking about the Black Plague and population rates rising in Europe and sort of corrective measures, and how basically the gist of it is that humanity goes through periods of intense growth and access and wealth, and how that can enrich many people in the world, and then they crash. But they're better off than they were, so they go higher, and then they crash. And they're better off than they were, and they crash, and on and on and on. I don't know if this is particularly interesting to Lala.
Oh, Lala fucking loves it, but she won't let her know.
Okay, so
Like,
she's
she's
like
cool about
sitting
it.
nearby, like
A disaster, she loves it.
the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah. Like, I imagine
God,
she like.
that was me as a kid.
I know, right? I feel like she like takes notes on her arm. Like
Right.
she's like, but then she's like, that's fine.
I want to know what you do. You are a mole.
Yeah.
You are in deep, deep cover, and every plan that you could have had has been shot to hell.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you've been given 4 more names.
Yeah.
What do you do?
How many people are in the cargo hold?
There's probably about 17 or 18 adults, and like a smattering of the various, colony kids.
Okay, so there's women and children?
Yeah.
Okay. How big is the cargo hold in comparison to like where they hang out? The cockpits, lounge.
The cargo hold's big, and all of the other, because it has to be, and pretty much anywhere else on a spaceship, including bunks, command bridges, anything like that, is gonna have to be compact, just for the economy of not dying in space.
Is there like a breaker system where you can turn off the lights in a certain room?
Absolutely.
That kind of thing?
There's engineering, which would, I think, naturally be either Lala's or Durt's domain. Who wants to be like the engineer when the engine goes shitty and they gotta fix it up?
It's probably me because I'm
Probably.
dirty. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's probably why I'm so dirty.
Okay.
Sure. Oil.
Sure. Oil.
I'm getting like
grit,
real
fixing things.
Atlantis movie
was
from
cool.
Yeah.
Disney. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
perpetually
You
greased
get it.
up.
That and Tarot Cards Lady combined into this beautiful
Wait, are you
thing.
talking about like the mole guy from Atlantis?
I don't know, just like in general, like the
No, my
all
crush.
these crew members and
My
Disney
crush,
movies.
the hot.
Oh,
Yes,
the
that's
overall.
what I was
Spanish
going
lady,
for.
the overalls.
That's what I was going
The
for.
baking
Yeah.
lady, so.
I was going for her, but
That
Tarot
lady
Card
was
Lady
Ruby.
in her overalls.
That rules.
Plus stank.
Plus stay.
We don't know. She might have stunk. Can't see that through cartoon.
That's true. Well,
in
you
that
can't.
case-
It's stink lines.
So you see how you have a minus?
Yeah.
Just say it's a 0 for expertise because you're like good at. Or let's say it's a +1 for expertise because you're good at machines because that's like.
Cool.
Great. So what is you? So in terms of power, most every like what we would call electronic light or like electric light, the lighting, anything like that comes from the fusion generator as a byproduct of going through space. It's just sort of like how your car engine keeps your lights on. And if you were to fuck with the breakers that lead the engine into the rest of the subsystems of the ship, that would be the place to do it.
Let's see. I want to kind of move out of the cargo area and see if I can find a space, like a small hallway where nobody's at. And if there's like the old classic Alien movie, open up a kind of a bit of the wall, and if there's like a tube kind of thing that might have oxygen or something.
I might make it up.
So this is going to be interesting. I'm going to use failures to intervene the crew. So you guys can absolutely make actions and go about and do things actively, but it's going to be as a danger to if he fails a roll.
Okay.
So give me just an expertise. This seems more like a metal roll to like do it without people noticing.
Yeah.
Because ships are meant to be repairable. So things come apart.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Darn
Great.
it.
I think you can choose one of the following. You do it very quietly, or you do it in a way that nobody can tell you did it.
That it was done.
You can seamlessly bring it back in after you crawl in, or you can do it quietly. They will never be able to tell where you entered.
Let's do quietly.
Quietly. Great. I think you are able to maybe even like smoking your cigarette, give out a cough as you snap a metal bearing off and bring it out. You bring it back in, and it just sits slightly out of place.
Okay.
You are now in the Jeffries tubes. What do you do, Xenomorph?
Thinking about the structure of the ship, since I kind of gave it a once-over in the beginning, I'd like to try to move towards the front until I hear like some sort of voices or something.
Yeah.
Or if there's like a bedroom or something, I can wait.
Sure. I think you are traveling horizontally along the ship, and now that it is under thrust, now there is gravity. In this world, ships are built sideways, like an office building on its side, because when ships go forward, thrust creates gravity, and that means wherever you're leaving is down. So now you're having to climb up to the bridge. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And slightly less than, I think it's actually pretty hard. Because Alcor is really putting it through its paces. You're going at a couple G's worth. Not yet to hurt people,
Yeah.
but it is, you guys are booking it towards the node and to get onto the rails.
Okay. Did they mention where we were going and would I know how long it would take to get there?
You, I don't think you heard much, just that you had to leave. I think you can deduce that other than a couple other mining outfits and maybe 1 or 2 other colonies, there's not many places you can go in this system.
Go. Okay.
They're probably trying to leave.
Yeah. That's a good deduction. Okay.
Who knows? I think that I'm going to invoke that mixed success in that Lala, after a certain amount of time of listening to the professor, walks back out. What are you going to do in the area? Are you trying to like chat up and talk to and get information from anybody?
No, I think I'm just kind of like looking to see if there's someone like I wouldn't know, because you said it's like 17 people, or just like anybody that's like being really
Suspicious,
quiet,
ratty. I think I don't think this requires a roll because I think a lot of people are kind of clustered around Bonnie, the child that was taken in the riptide, and Bonnie's fine.
Yeah.
Give me a roll plus, I think, expertise.
You said 0, right? No,
It's a +1.
10.
Perfect success.
Yes.
I
Don't mess
think
with Lala.
you noticed something very strange.
Okay.
Because you were pretty sure this kid had a scar on her cheek,
Yeah.
and now it's just smooth, unbroken skin. her father welcomes you very like with a clap on the back and not breathing through his nose, and says, "Oh my, what you and Grash and the crew have done, I really appreciate it. It's just Corn again. It's just it's nothing but Corn.
It's my daughter.
Look, this voice means I really mean it. That's all it is.
Yeah,
This is as sincere as I could possibly get.
Funny. Bonnie, you look good.
Thanks, Lala. You look great.
And really clean.
Yeah. I feel good. I feel really good.
Really healthy.
Grash saved me.
Well, what did you see?
There's fireflies under there.
Oh, okay.
There's lightning bugs. We went under there and I couldn't breathe and I was choking, and I remember Grash pounding on my chest, and I was spitting and vomiting. My head hurt like nothing else. And then everything went away for a little bit, and there was all these lightning bugs under the water.
Huh. I bet that was a dang pretty sight.
It was beautiful. And I think Bonnie's dad like puts a protective hand on the shoulder and says, "You sure you don't want to lay down, sweetie?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think I do." And he leads her over to a cot and lays her down.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm still creeping along, waiting to hear somebody or someone in the crew.
Let's see who he comes across.
Passing conversation is all I'm looking for.
There's the tech station, and you can tell because it starts to get hotter as the electrical machinery and stuff, and the ventilation has to work a little harder. And you can peep out just through the slit of a ventilation. You can see the sealed off part of this cockpit on the bridge that makes up the entire tech suite.
Okay, is she alone?
Are you having a conversation with anybody?
I mean, I feel like I'm always talking. But I don't know if necessarily people are in my station, if that makes sense. But I'll just always like shouting out. So how long have you and Lala been doing the nasty? Just, doing my thing, shouting out, making conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't call me the Wiz Kid for nothing.
It is very complicated.
And I think this is the timbre of the chatter that you guys are getting.
Yeah.
Are you
crew
having
chat.
a conversation with anybody in a separate channel?
I might be trying to reach Grash over the comms, but maybe he's...
I think he's retired to his quarters.
Okay.
That's at least what he said.
Nice.
And I think you might be able to actually check where people are. Is that like an ability that either tech, or was that one of your things?
Surveillance, yeah, I have surveillance.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to use that on your boss, but you're free to if that was the thing. I don't think he's answering very many communiques, and it's just like texting back if anybody needs anything. But you can tell he went and walked around the ship somewhat.
Yeah,
so,
I think I'm a bit concerned for his well-being. I'm mostly just focused on doing what needs to be done and flying the ship.
Yeah.
Being,
I think you check like one of the shipboard cameras, and you see him like looking out one of the two big long bay windows that make up either side of the ship on the way to the bridge, and you see him just staring out and looking, even though at this distance there's nothing that could possibly be seen, and he is searching for something, looking out into the blackness. And then he does something strange. He touches his heart, and then he tries to touch the glass, but he stops short of the glass and feels something in the air. Shakes his head, wipes his hands on his pants, and begins to walk back away, southwards out of the camera's eyes.
Hello, friends. Jonah here to say thank you for listening to this episode of Manifest.
If you're a fan of the Quest Company, please do us a favor and go to our page on the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave us a rating and review. It's a huge help to us, and we read every single review that comes in. And if you really love what we do here at the Quest Company and you want to take the next step in supporting us, please consider becoming a Patreon subscriber. You can help us with necessary expenses that come with creating all this content and help us continue to improve the quality of the show. We've got multiple patron tiers available. Every little bit helps. You can be a baby goblin, or an ace trainer, or a party monster, or a space cowboy, or a moist and mossy necromancer. If you want to give us that support, you could do so at patreon.com/questcompanypodcast. We also have a link to the Patreon on our website, questcompanypodcast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can do so directly through the Connect page on our website or by finding us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at The Quest Company. You can also come hang out with us in our Discord. Links to that are in the aforementioned places. I'd like to thank Mr. Joe Leitess for running the game and editing this episode, as well as the other artists whose work is featured in it. Thank you to Joseph Cash for So Long Snace Cowboy, the Manifest theme. Thank you to Dan Lebowitz for the song Last Train to Mars. Thank you to Waylon Thornton and the Heavy Hands for the song Strange Looking Child. Thank you to Daniel Birch for the song Danger Drone. Thank you to Dr. Turtle for the song Rocinante's Lament. Thank you to John Bartmann for the song Interstellar Space. Thank you to Hainbach for the song They Can Feel You, Something Is Wrong. And thank you to Tabletop Audio for providing the ambient sounds. Additional sound design by B. Steele and Raccoon Animator. That's all for me, so let's get back to the flashback. Thank you for listening to Manifest here at the Quest Company.
This is the thing that you have discovered from this.
Yeah.
The cells are separate. It's not a military battle station. It's people who go and do their job at their office. That is a separate location from that. Is a separate location from that. It's very separate from the cargo bay and engineering.
Okay. Cool.
And they all have their various wirings and oxygen pipes and recyclers and all that various shit that people do. Cool. And I think there is a shipboard announcement that Alcor plugs in just as a matter of course whenever people go to the node of the rails, and it says node T-minus 2 hours.
What does that mean, sorry?
That they're going to make it to the rails in 2 hours, which doesn't necessarily mean you failed in any sort of way. It's just that it's going to complicate things once we get in between stars.
Okay.
Can you describe the rails again?
Can we say that this is what you're doing, your intelligence gathering, and I'll bring that right up? The rails, when you approach in space, is something that you can see, and you honestly shouldn't. Scientists can't really explain why it is there's a visual effect when there's nothing physically there, even radioactive wise or magnetic wise, but nevertheless, you begin to see in the far distance that ribbon that stretches in between the stars. And this node far outside the star system that Ishmael sits in is only nearly glancing near where this is, in the deep pitch of interstellar space. You see this multicolored, rainbow, gorgeous ribbon. And as it gets closer and closer when you look at it, you see that it's less of a static, never-changing arrangement of colors and more like light from a prism. And the sort of shifting as you look at it from different angles, and even sometimes just staring at it straight on, it seems that there are beams of semi-translucent light that stretch off into the interstellar blackness. This is what it looks like when you approach the rails. And the automated alarm goes on for 1 hour to the rails.
Once we get to the rails, is it like an immediate jump to the next planet kind of thing, or is it still going to take some time?
There's a node in space. It's a metal construction, similar to a ring, sort of International Space Station type thing.
Okay.
And this alarm continues. Please be advised. This vessel is set to intersect with local node in T-minus 1 hour. Rails protocol is engaged. Please secure and turn off all electronic devices. Repeat, turn off all electronic devices. These include but are not limited to tablets, communicators, phones, shipboard systems, fusion engines, generators, prosthetic limbs, and radios. If you require medical devices, please report to medical for short-term cryostasis. Referring to like pacemakers and stuff. For those who would like a sedative, they are being passed out now. If your child has an electronic device, confiscate it now. In T-minus 58 minutes, we will embark on the rails to Meridian System. In the meantime, please refrain from spacewalking or looking through walls. And it cuts out. The message repeats over the next hour as people begin to follow the protocol. This might be new to you and the listeners. This is how you travel through the rails.
Yeah. Stay in a protocol.
Worst part of the trip. And, like, I shut down whenever I need to, but...
Hey, Percy, did you ever find out where that message was sent to?
Somebody inside here.
Lala, did you see anything?
Yes, I saw Bonnie. And you know what? You know how she had that crooked little something on her face?
Yeah, she wasn't the prettiest jewel in the
No,
box.
she was as ugly as a mule, but now it is clear. And she was talking about fireflies under the water with Alcor and how she was throwing up stuff and her head hurt and then she felt fine. And then her daddy got in there and then she went to bed. That's all I saw.
Kindly cut the chatter, please. Gratian finally cuts into the local chatter, into the local general radio. Thank you.
Can I see any pistols or weapons through my little slit in the thing?
I don't think you go armed.
Nah.
Not in your office. There's definitely like a locker
I got a little belt.
where anybody can go.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything, Durt, in this interim?
I'm trying to think of what Durt is actually doing on the ship, because we've got pilot, we've got tech, and we've got engine.
There's so much to do.
Yeah.
You could be manning any sort of security. You could man.
I think he's security. I'd say security.
So
Since you said it
internal-
wasn't like, because it's a mining thing, I wasn't sure, but I think the Durt would be doing security.
internal door alarms.
Yeah.
If people try to upload, viruses that would attack critical systems, that's Percy's domain. But you might be the one to go and physically remove the unit and prevent that sort of thing from happening.
Yeah.
Onboard assaults, anything like that.
Yeah.
That's Durt.
Yeah.
And just remind me, I do know it went to the back of the cabin where all the people were, right? Okay, cool. Just checking.
One more thing. Actually, no. I want to know what you've been doing in the interim, because this is important for what Lala's about to do.
I think I've been trying to corrupt their weapons with my laser pen thing.
Yeah, your laser
If I
pen.
see a pistol or something, I want to bore a hole through the side of the muzzle of the thing.
Okay.
Creative.
I think the one thing that hasn't really been looked at is the locker. And it is a standard issue sort of deep space marine locker from the Army that has somehow been lifted and installed, probably by Durt, to hold the firearms and that sort of thing of the ship. And there's a couple ways you can do this, because it does require a key in.
Yeah.
It does require either, in this case, it would be like hacking or a physical opening approach.
Yeah.
Or you could try to limit access to it in some other way. Or you could, once you get in, injure the weapon. So tell me how you would like to go about this.
I don't care if there's if it's obvious that it's been opened, or if I've used my laser pen to cut open a hole on the top and then individually fuck up each weapon. I'm cool if it looks like that.
Okay. Give me, this is going to be, I think, an expertise. And this is exactly when Lala walks past the grate, notices the grate is slightly out of its jam.
I think probably she just really had to fart and she wanted to be respectful. Walked out of the room and just squats to fart and then notices the little...
It squats down
Yeah,
to
it's
get it.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
And the grate is slightly out.
Durt, you better come here.
What's going on? And I put down my Sudoku and I come over there.
Within a minute, you are climbing down the office building that is this ship under thrust.
Yeah.
As badly as I would like a little pump and thrust, I do see something amiss, and I point towards it. And it is not a bed roach, but we do have a little bit of a pest problem.
So I want to analyze this and look to make sure that it seems like it's been tampered with, and not just kind of out of place or anything.
That's great. But first,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Dang. Just
okay.
ski.
I think these lockers are rated proof against laser pistols, and you have to get creative.
Okay.
I think you have to literally go back over the welds that were done. You can't just cut in through the flat plate. You have to go over the welds as quietly as possible and are able to finally, straining, bend back the lid of this locker. And from there, you are fucking up all of the weapons.
I suppose I have my gloves on or something to make sure no fingerprints get on it.
As far as I'm aware, the only armed person is you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Alcor. Those were your weapons. It's really okay. You can get more in the next 10 years.
Okay. I'm baby.
I'm sorry. I just realized.
Corey's baby.
I'm baby.
It's a manifest thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wait, you saved Margaret. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
This is 5 years before that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't a nugget.
I'm baby
Yeah.
Alcor,
Baby Alcor.
17-year-old Alcor.
Got it. Sorry, I was like, wait, Alcor. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Dirt. Give me that. Is it an assess roll? You're just trying to like sort of perceive realities if we're talking Dungeon World style?
Like, yeah, I'm looking to see if it looks like it was actively tampered with,
Yeah.
or if it's just like we have a shitty ship.
Roll the bones. That's an expertise.
Not great.
Can I say I leaned
Being
up against
3.
it?
You
And
can
my
try to
pants
help.
are like, oh yeah, okay, I'll help you.
Oh, it's a 3?
Yeah, I'm very attracted by her powerful essence.
Aura's glowing.
Oh god.
I think it looks not dissimilar to many other fucked up bits of machinery or metal that just over time and use, especially in this junker, if this was like one of the real battleships, like from back in the day, then it would be great. But this is sort of par for the course.
Yeah.
It looks weird, but it's not out of place.
Yeah.
You know, somebody might have done that themselves to go in and root around in the ventilation shaft for some minor repair.
Yeah. Well, we can patch that up real easy. I mean, I can't tell if it's, don't know if it's something that somebody did or if it's just part of this old sweet lady and I pat the walls.
I think the 30-minute alarm goes off for approaching the node. And this is the point where the pilot accelerates as much as they're going to need to and then cuts the engine. Because engines cannot be turned on within the rails. Engines should not be turned on in the rails.
There it is.
I think they're told you can't.
So it's like a car wash, essentially.
Yes.
Just kind of drift.
Put it in
Put it in
neutral
neutral.
and
That's
go.
a great, yeah.
Not even neutral, just neutral then off.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think most of the people in the bay have taken sedatives.
Yeah.
And most of the people are settling down for a little rails nap. Obviously, people in crew sort of circumstances generally wouldn't unless they were like injured or something like that. And you guys are, 30 minutes from entering the node.
Can I ask what these sedatives are? Like what they do to the person? Are they totally just conked out, or is it like?
I think they're like NyQuil.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
so
they're
like
like
a Benadryl or
they're
something.
a sleep aid. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like keep you from going crazy pills.
Melatonin,
It's
yeah.
just sleep. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, industrial strength space melatonin.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, nerd.
Spellatone, yes.
What more are you doing, if anything, or are you waiting for an opportunity?
I'm waiting for an opportunity now.
Back into your alien hole.
Back in my alien hole, and if there's like a space where they like where they're going for the rails thing, like if they're going to somewhere, just kind of sit down. Because is it like a physical experience?
It is actually the cessation of gravity.
Oh shit!
You're no longer under thrust in the sense that we are when we're flying through space. Gravity goes away because there is no such thing as thrust. Scientists have tried to explain this to you, and you are an academic, and even somebody who is both a soldier and a fucking smart dude. It's literally rocket science at that point. So you know that in a certain while, there's not even going to be gravity anymore.
Okay, cool.
Lala,
As-
however, is usually under thrust.
Haha. Hey, and Durt. Once we hit the rails, you want to get wrecked like a train up in that space machine?
God, I hate that I love it. Yes.
I think we made an agreement that anytime we go on the rails, we're like totally having gravity set.
Oh,
It's fucked up.
boning in 0 G's,
Voted in
absolutely.
0 G's.
Now, is that face adversity for Dirt, or is it launch assault for Lala?
I would say face adversity.
That is
It's
funny.
like, it just feel like it's just really gross and awkward because you can't
It's like
ever
wet
find anything.
in all the wrong
It's so
places.
rewarding.
Yeah, but it's like the best ever.
An experience. So, what's the plan? Because I want to take into account what your characters want to do within the next 30 minutes. I think it's mostly batten down the hatches.
Yeah.
Everything's strapped down. When the gravity kicks out, nobody's going to like have their coffee go flying everywhere. What's the plan?
I think Dirk's gonna go on like a patrol. He's gonna take one last lap around and make sure that everybody who has taken their spellatonin, make sure that everybody's taking their spellatonin is secured and that all the stuff like in cargo and all of that it's all good to go before he makes his way back into Lala's quarters.
This is going to be a pass-fail assessment.
Okay.
Because I think as the timer begins to tick down, and Alcor is making the final, no longer under fusion propulsion, but it's just like compressed air to nudge things back into place, and everybody's turned off their communicators. All the doors, I want to make this clear, everything is off.
Yeah.
All things are analog. Oxygen is not being replenished. Doors must be manually opened, the whole 9 yards. As you do that, you walk back towards the area where you keep your gun locker. I think it's like your workbench also, where you do like minor repairs to like firearms and stuff. You do like the cool like, Arnie like...
Oh my gosh.
This is going to be a straight up pass-fail.
Okay.
Give me 2d6 plus, I think, no, straight up.
That's a 6 for old Durt.
Oh, Durt.
I think you head over to Lala's. And you manually crank the door open, and you crank the door back.
I want to like follow him in the raft.
Yeah, like try to find him over.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you do. And it is this point where we enter the rails. Gravity cuts off. There is no light. There are a couple chemical lights that kick on for the purposes of the cockpit and the crew.
What color are they?
What should they
What
be?
color? Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I love that mood. Just like the small, like emergency lights.
Yeah, I was thinking like
Like it, you can't see.
purpley.
The color of love.
Fuck.
You don't need to see.
Yeah, you can't see. That's why it's so great.
I just see the mauve silhouette of an ass cheek.
This is the steamiest episode yet.
There you go. It's
Leave
one-off
it to
characters,
me.
baby.
Leave it to me.
And
I imagine I always just sit down to salt and vinegar chips, play a game of chess with myself, and have a little lamp on my forehead. Is that okay?
yeah,
Percy might be a little afraid of the dark.
It's okay. You're a kid. All right.
I think you hear an inner door open and shut, coming from the main body, and you hear footsteps walking around, some nervous hand rubbing, and you hear the sound of a window shade being lifted, and the large cockpit windows in the main room that you can't see right now because you're in your own cubicle, being lifted to look at the stars outside.
Oh, beautiful.
What do you do?
I thought we weren't supposed to look at the stars. Or the walls. We're not supposed to look at the walls.
Would you like me to repeat the...
Yeah, can you repeat it?
If you require medical devices, please report to medical for short-term cryostasis. For those who would like sedatives, they are being passed out now. In the meantime, please refrain from spacewalking or looking through walls. As you enter the rails, it's a strange phenomenon, one of the first that were reported from colonists being sent out to the rim. You can look through walls in the rails. You can see through a bulkhead of maybe 6 inches.
Oh.
It's unheard of. There aren't even X-ray devices that could look through a bulkhead that easily and that clearly. It's as though there's nothing there. It hurts. It hurts your brain.
Yeah, I would.
Please refrain from looking through walls.
Gotcha.
The arrow
Got it.
says.
Gotcha.
It's there. It hurts.
Okay, great. Guess it's about that time for them to bone down, and I open my potato chips.
Everybody missed
That was
it.
beautiful.
Why is that song of all things in my head right now?
That's a great question.
Lulu?
Cindy Lou. Yes. That's your
Because
breakdown
Crash
for
sounds
you.
like Grinch.
The new Grinch movie was weird.
Didn't see
Oh,
it.
I can't do it. But on the other side, Wreck-It Ralph is very good. Wreck-It Ralph 2.
New Grinch missed it.
With
What
Benji
did you
Boo
think of
Cumby
Wreck-It Ralph
Wumble.
2?
Oh,
you kidding?
Benedict Cucumber Patch.
There's a new one?
I
Yeah,
just
it was like animated.
I haven't seen it.
What-
Oh,
Like
maybe
a
I
la
should
the
check it out.
Lorax.
I
Oh,
just
okay.
get really sad that she's like hates Ralph all of a sudden.
Live action.
Oh
just
yeah, I'm like, get out of here, Vanellope, you bitch.
Yeah, so
Live action
Lorax was
it's very,
live action the Lorax with Danny DeVito. Just
She's over
painted
it.
the
And I
orange.
just feel like it's like
I'd pay to see it.
Is that your hall pass?
Her and
Danny
shit.
DeVito?
Danny DeVito, Willem Dafoe, and Danny DeVito, baby.
Oh, Willem Dafoe, yes.
That's your sisters, right?
No, yeah, that's what my sister said that her crush was, her celebrity crush was, and then she was like, no, can I take that back? I just said the first name that popped in my head.
No, it's Willem Dafoe.
Forever.
girl.
I just love those crags.
Like,
My finger in between the crags.
you will never be able to take that back.
Those deep
I hope
crags.
that was recorded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's all recorded.